And finally, there are corporate litigators. These attorneys handle claims and lawsuits filed by third parties. They also advise their clients on avoiding litigation. Some corporate litigators are legal specialists, like those who focus their practice on tax litigation or patent prosecution. Otherwise, corporate litigators will work with legal specialists when the litigation involves the specialist's area of expertise. Also important to note, corporate attorneys can be further categorized by the industries they work in. For example, entertainment lawyers, technology lawyers, insurance lawyers, aviation lawyers, and FCC and telecommunications lawyers, just to name a few. Such designations indicate the lawyer's familiarity with the codified laws and industry practices applicable to the relevant industry. All the various types of corporate attorneys can hold positions either at a law firm or within a company. Generally speaking, there are fundamental differences between practicing law at a law firm versus at a company. Keep in mind, these differences do not always hold true in every case, but they occur often enough to note. First, there is the work. In-house attorneys generally work closely with their company's employees on legal issues that occur on a regular basis, while law firm attorneys generally deal with non-routine matters and larger transactions, such as buying or selling a company. While in-house attorneys routinely coordinate with and assist law firm attorneys with non-routine and larger transactions, the heavy lifting is done by law firms because law firms generally have more attorneys, more resources, and more expertise because they assist numerous companies in similar matters. Next, the hours. Because in-house attorneys work more on routine business matters, it is typically the case that they are able to keep hours more akin to business people. Law firm attorneys who service numerous companies and deal with complex issues and larger transactions tend to put in longer hours. Then there are the layers. Again, because in-house attorneys deal with more routine matters, there is a significant amount of autonomy for in-house attorneys. Generally speaking, a single in-house attorney will be appointed to handle a particular matter or transaction. Contrarily, because law firm attorneys deal with non-routine issues and larger transactions, their matters are often staffed with anywhere from a few to a dozen attorneys. Junior associates handling research and due diligence, senior associates drafting documents and reviewing the junior associates' work, one or more legal specialists to handle issues pertaining to their area of expertise, and one or more partners steering the deal, interacting with the client, and allocating and supervising the work. And finally, there's pay. The pay range for both law firms and companies varies greatly depending on the size of the law firm or company, the experience of the attorney, and the attorney's area of practice. However, generally speaking, large law firm attorneys are better compensated than in-house attorneys, except that general counsels and associate general counsels at large companies can do extremely well, particularly if they receive performance bonuses and stock incentives. Now that you know the possibilities, what are the paths to these legal careers? Of the nearly 45,000 law school graduates each year, most will begin their careers at a law firm, many given a job offer after participating in a summer internship at the law firm after their second year in law school. However, if you were not one of the chosen few, you can still end up at a law firm by participating in an aggressive job search, which we will discuss in detail in just a few minutes. There are also two paths to becoming an in-house attorney. First, you can come in early in your career as corporate counsel or as a contract specialist, contract manager, or contract administrator. People who choose this path generally enjoy steady careers as commercial transactional attorneys. The other path is becoming an expert in your relevant field of practice at a law firm, building a respectable reputation in that field, and then participating in an aggressive job search. This is generally the path to in-house careers other than commercial transactional attorney, including the path to general counsel. So here we end at the beginning. How do you land a job as a corporate attorney if you were not recruited by a law firm out of law school? Or if you began your career as a litigator? or even if you are already practicing as a corporate attorney but are looking for a new position. Well, there are 3 strategies you need to employ. First, you should respond to job postings by sending a resume and cover letter. Next, you should take advantage of legal placement services, as many law firms and companies only give time and attention to resumes they receive from recruiters that screen applicants. And finally, you absolutely have to network on your own by attending Bar Association events and legal job fairs. And when employing these strategies, you have to remember, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And when you're competing with hundreds of other applicants for a job, you need to do everything you can to sell yourself. Sometimes all you have is your cover letter and resume. Even when you get a face-to-face meeting, sometimes you only have a few minutes to catch an employer's attention, so you have to make the most of it. And how do you make the most of a first impression? The golden rule is, it is not who you are, but what you know. In other words, you will not impress an employer by telling him or her that you are a hard worker, that you are eager, or even that you are a quick learner. These are all admirable qualities, ones that you should definitely share with potential employers. But keep in mind, these are the words every candidate uses to describe themselves, so saying these things won't give you an advantage. Employers want to know what you know that is relevant to the job, because the more you know, the more useful you will be to them, and ultimately, that's what counts. Large law firms have training programs in place to teach their new hires what they need to know, because they have the resources and they hire anywhere from 30 to 60 new attorneys every year. But small and mid-sized law firms do not. Neither do companies. Therefore, these employers will always give preference to candidates who have prepared themselves through experience or self-study, not the candidate who says he or she is eager to learn but knows nothing about the job they are applying for. So if you are trying to land a job as a corporate attorney, do your homework. No more general cover letters if you are applying directly to a law firm or a company. Indicate in your cover letter that you know something about the law firm to which you are applying, or something about the company or industry if applying to a business. This will impress employers. You can find information about the employer on its website. In addition, if the employer is a publicly traded company, there will be a host of information on the company on the Securities and Exchange Commission's website at www.sec.gov. You can also Google or do a Yahoo search on an employer to see if that employer has recently been in the news or if one of its executives have been quoted in an article. Such information gives you intelligent talking points to include in a cover letter or to bring up at a face-to-face meeting. You can also learn about companies and law firms on popular networking websites such as LinkedIn.com. These websites help you locate current and past employees who may be willing to answer general questions about their employers. And finally, if you are interested in a particular industry, you should start reading popular trade publications relating to that industry. Again, this is where you'll find intelligent talking points to include in a cover letter or to bring up at a face-to-face meeting.